Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla Lindsay, and today we're going to talk about how you can make six figures without making cold calls. That's right, using numbers you already have in your phone. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, yeah, I have plenty of numbers in my phone, but they're not people that I necessarily want to call. But I also don't want to cold call. Here's the thing. Cold calling and calling people that you already have their name and number and potentially know them are two completely different conversations. That's right, you will probably have to make far less calls to people that you know than people you don't know. Now, I personally, starting out in real estate, all I wanted to do was cold calling. I didn't want to call my sphere, I didn't want to call friends, I didn't want to call family. Quite honestly, I wasn't even 100% sure I could sell houses, and I didn't want to get them tied into it. I also knew they knew how short of a time I'd been in real estate, so I stuck to cold calls. Now, a few things happened. One, I did great with cold calling. But two, every conversation was a battle, right? If you've ever made cold calls, every conversation is a battle. You get on the phone, you're trying to convince them that you're not like the other 15 agents that they've talked to already today, and you're going to consistently follow up. Now, here's the difference between that and calling people that you already know. Now, the first thing to bear in mind, if you're calling people that you already know, let's say sphere, past clients, or even people that you used to work with, colleagues, these are going to be people that already know your name, so they're more willing to pick up the phone. So the first thing to think about is you're going to have more conversations. Write this down. You're going to want to have at least 35 conversations every single day with people in order for you to hit the goals that you truly desire. Conversations is where you get information and provide information. It's where you can start to discuss with that person maybe what they want to do with their house, or to sell or buy a house, or their friend's house, or their mother's house. We're going to talk a little bit about that in another video about the scripts to use for that, but let's really hone in on the number of conversations. In order for me to have 35 conversations a day, I might have to make close to 400 calls for expireds, versus I could potentially make 100 calls to sphere. And it's not because they're not picking up because they don't like me or know me, they might just be busy. So here's the magic of it. When you make that phone call to somebody you know, they're going to call you back. That is the key. They're going to eventually call you back, or they're going to send you a text. The other thing with that, along with making those phone calls to sphere, you can do number two, and that's sending them a text message. Text message have a phenomenal answer rate. That's right, they're not only reading it and seeing it, they're also going to respond. Whether it's a, oh, hey, that's cool, or oh, hey, how are you? They're going to get some kind of response. Versus what I would consider cold texting, or texting people that have no idea who you are. People get those all the time. And a lot of times agents do it the complete wrong way, because we will give our whole life story in that first text message, and they go to start scrolling, they're like, I don't even know this person. There's no need for me to even read this. So when you're doing this process, number two is make sure you're going ahead and sending a text message along with it if they didn't pick up the phone, or a text to say thank you. Text messages will continue the conversation or start the conversation. It's a wonderful tool. Now, a third thing you can do if you really want to avoid talking to people, but you want to make sure you're connecting, send a voice text or a video text. You've got to get comfortable with video. Write this down. Video is where you need to go. You're all watching YouTube right now, obviously, right? We like to have visual stimulation. But in addition to that, when you're sending someone a personalized video text, it's personal to them. It feels like they're really talking to you right there. That's why people love using FaceTime. So number three, send video, send audio text messages. It's the cooler thing than slide dial, because they didn't actually miss the call with slide dial, right? We all know that. But if you send them a voice text, you're still connecting with them. Now let's think about this. How do we create a system by which you can follow through and do this every day? Now, a lot of people that I coach, that's where they get hung up. They're like, that's a great plan, that's a great idea. And I'm gonna go back to doing what I was doing. I'm gonna go back to calling Zillow leads. I'm gonna go back to just doing cold calls. This is not something you do instead of other production. This is not things you do instead of other lead generation. You do it in addition to, okay? Doing this is going to ensure that you have a pipeline of business in the future. Most of these calls are not going to turn into a listing agreement that day. So you still have to do some cold calls. You still have to call the people that are hot leads with their hands raised saying they want to do something, because that's where your next paycheck is going to come from. But you have to start nurturing, right? So we're hunting, right? We're hunting when we're going out and calling cold calls. Leads that have their hands raised, expireds, FSBOs, probate, those are hunting calls. We're also going to do farming and gathering, right? Nurturing. Those are when you're farming a neighborhood, when you're farming your sphere, right? Farming just means you're in consistent contact. You touch them all the time. They know what you do. You're always there, right? You're watering your fields, giving it nourishment. And that's what that is doing. And the cool thing about this over here, in the meanwhile, you are getting immediate feedback, immediate help, immediate business in a sense of you're getting stronger friendships. These people might not be ready to go, but they know someone who is. So what you're creating is a network of people that are out looking for business for you because they know you, like you, and trust you. And they know you, like you, and trust you because you've been in front of them. They like you because you've put them first and you've asked what is important to them, how you can help them, you've engaged with them. And they trust you because you consistently show up. You do what you say you're going to do. And they've seen you in action, right? They've started to see your posts online about how you sold this house or that house. You talk about it in conversation. So make sure that you're still nurturing while you're hunting. So what does this strategy look like? What kind of time does this take to do? Well, if any of you are active full-time real estate agents, you should be doing from 9 until 12 is making calls. And a lot of agents I know, they prospect, whatever your prospecting looks like, from 8 until 12. And this might be a quick review for you, but prospecting could be anything from cold calls, text messages, doing voice text, voice anything, video anything, if it's going directly to someone, door knocking, it could be any of those things. But within that time frame, you should also incorporate sphere. Because here's the thing, it's still prospecting. The biggest thing that people do wrong is they say, well, my prospecting time is in the morning, and then I'll deal with my sphere in the afternoon. I'll do something with my sphere in the afternoon. I'll talk to them then. What happens in the afternoon? The second it hits 12 o'clock, shit hits the fan, right? Every time an email gets blown up, a client's pissed, there's a closing that's not happening, your afternoon appointment got shifted. That's why your 9 until noon hours are your golden hours. If you get nothing else done that day, if you just get that time done, that is going to push you to the next level, okay? So during that time, what you're going to want to do is carve out 1 hour. Of those 3 hours, carve out 1 hour that is dedicated to sphere, okay? So here's my suggestion. Do it first. Do it from 9 until 10. From 9 until 10, you're going to have those conversations, and then what you're going to start to find is the more conversations you have from 9 to 10, the more amped you'll be to get on the phones from 10 till 12 to make those cold calls, right? You've already talked to people that know you, like you, and trust you. They're gonna be like, you're doing a great job, keep going. And now you're gonna do cold calls where they might be cursing at you. All right, so nurture in the morning, hunt in the late morning. Nurture in the early morning, hunt in the late morning. It's the opposite for real hunting, I know. Now with that, what are some activities you can do with your sphere? I hear it all the time, okay, I like my sphere, but they talk too much, right? All these people that you're probably talking to, you might not have spoken with them in a couple months. They want to know how you're doing, how are the kids, how's the wife, how's the husband, how's the dog, what are you doing with the career? They're going to have a lot of questions for you as well. The first time you start doing this, it's going to have longer conversations. You just have to get really good at going through them more quickly. When you get on the phone, let them know, hey, I actually have an appointment in like 5 minutes. But you popped into my head, so I wanted to give you a quick call. How are you? We're going to talk about scripting in this next video, so make sure to look out for it. but we're gonna go through some scripts on how that looks. So make sure you're calling. You can also do the voice text. You can also do the video text. Here's what I'm gonna tell you about these two though. They're still pretty passive. Don't do these without first having tried to call them. Don't hide behind text messages. We all know that some people that we have or love want to only text, and that's great. Still give them a call and then follow it up with a text. And last but not least, do handwritten notes. If you've got an address, if you don't have an address, find out the address while you're on the phone with them. Do handwritten notes and do the rule of 5. Do 5 handwritten notes, 5 text messages, 5 phone calls. What you're gonna start to see is that it's gonna build on itself, because guess what? 5, 5, 5, 5, that hits you at 20 contacts or 20 calls, 20 handwritten notes, 20 text messages out to how many people? That's right, potentially 20 to 60 different people. Because I didn't say you had to handwritten and text and call all the same people that same day, although you could. Don't overthink it. Perfection will make you broke. Good enough will make you wealthy. All right, make sure to go ahead and implement, take action, start today. I don't care what time it is, start today. Make 1 call, 1 handwritten note, 1 text message, get it out, get it done. And we're gonna talk about scripts on this next call, so I will see you guys there.